What's up out there? Today we're going to try something a little bit different. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video. It's probably going to be a little bit meandering. I've got some notes pinned up here that I want to chat about. But basically, and some of this stuff's things that I've been thinking about for the last couple of months about PoE 2, but I just haven't really committed to a video, or, you know, it's probably not enough to put in one entire video about the whole thing. But now, in light of the way this is all launched with 020, I wanted to chat about a bunch of things. I feel very vindicated about dropping this thing a couple of months ago. We'll get into all that. But I wanted to do like one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is that I need to show more gameplay, and I find it very difficult to chat and play at the same time. So that's why you see me starting off talking a lot, because I want to get what's on my head out and, you know, go that route. So this time I thought I would have a few notes. I did a first thoughts video yesterday about this, and I haven't really changed my thinking on it. Actually, I think I'm actually enjoying this game a lot more this time around, because I think I have a little better understanding of what's going on. But I wanted to talk about this. Reddit's on fire, and I'm just laughing at the whole thing because I find it kind of funny. So let's just start off with the whole PoE 2 always has been comment that I've got up at the top there. This is exactly what this game was on day one. You guys, and I collectively say you guys, found all the broken builds where you could just walk through the game and kill everything off in one shot, delete, as I understand it, some of the uber bosses in 1 second, and then you don't have to actually play the game. Now you have to play the game, and this is the game that I was playing on day one. You guys were playing PoE 1.5, I was playing PoE 2, and I hated the experience. I thought it sucked, and I gave up on it. I thought it was miserable, and I just was not having fun with it in any way, shape, or form. And now now that they've nerfed everything out of existence, I'm starting to. You guys are finally at the same boat that I am. You know what? This might be better over here. That way it's completely out of the way. But you guys are finally starting to figure out this, this is what PoE 2 is and was and always has been. So it's kind of funny to see, because now everybody's starting to figure out, oh, by the way, Path of Exile 2 is this really hardcore experience that is not got the movement speed and the damage and everything that you get in PoE 1. You have to play it a lot slower. You have to be a lot more methodical, and you don't get all the fast stuff. So that's why I kind of feel vindicated about it. It's like, dude, this is the way it's been ever since day one. This is what my experience was in December when I played that crappy Titan build that I did. And a lot of the things that you would think of a normal ARPG, such as not having to, you have to use the default attack in this game. That is not normal to any other ARPG. There's a lot of things that are just straight up different about this game. You know, maybe this needs to be down just there. That way I can see that. Yeah, that seems good. There's a lot of things different about this game, and I think what makes it kind of strange, and I said this on like one of my first videos, I said this feels like Path of Exile 10 degrees off center. It doesn't feel like Path of Exile 1, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't, people who compare it to a Souls game, I think the bosses are a Souls game, but it's kind of a weird hybrid of a bunch of different things, and I don't know, I don't know where I'm going with this exactly, but it's different than any other ARPG that's out there. I don't know where I'm going with this thought, but getting into the big brawl here, and I'm totally forgetting. This is why I don't do gameplay while I'm trying to talk. But at any rate, like right out of the gate, I have nowhere to go. I don't want to go too much further over here because I'm just going to get wrecked by whatever. I've pulled so many other mobs. You try to move around and not pull everything around you, and the next thing you know, you're pulling everything around you. Die. Got my double barrel shotgun rolling on over here. So yeah, Path of Exile 2 has always been this way. You guys I say you guys, I'm not like pointing to you specifically, but you guys have found all the cheap builds that could just one-shot everything, destroy the entire game, and now you're getting the actual experience, and nobody likes it. I think it's kind of funny, because this is where I was a month ago, or a couple months ago, like, well, 2 weeks into the game. Well, not even that. I was like right on day one. I just wasn't even having fun. What took me a long time to actually admit to, or admit to is probably not the way to say this. What took me a long time to actually understand and realize is that the thing that I liked day one was the campaign. I did not like anything else about this game at all. I mean, you know, the graphics are good, the animations are good, you know, all that kind of stuff, but everything feels weak. I've been saying that since day one. A lot of people have been saying that, and a lot of people have been catching hell for it because you'll get somebody that says, oh no, I've got this build that kills everything in one shot, it's fine. And then when that build gets nerfed, all of a sudden the shoe's on the other foot, and all of a sudden, oh my God, this game sucks. Yeah, people have been trying to say that, and nobody would want to listen because it's good for me. And that mentality, I think, is just asinine. So many people pull that, oh, I'm having fun, so it should be fine. You just get good. I hate people that say that. I just infuriates me when somebody says that, because that's just not even a, I don't know. I need to get off that soapbox, because it's just, why can't I hit this guy? My accuracy bad? Die. Jesus, man. I feel like every time I turn a corner, there's another pack of mobs I have to get away from. I was chasing something down the other day. We'll get into that when we talk about Wisps and Strongboxes and stuff. Man, that stuff just chases you all over the place. I don't know. Well, you know, we'll get into that later, but finish this rant off first. I don't know. Coming back to the game over the last couple of days, well, the last week, really, I think it's felt good. For me personally, it's always been this kind of gameplay, and now that I understand, like, you have to use the little this, you have to use the skill that comes with your weapon. Like, I am now using incendiary shot quite a bit, but I don't know. Losing my thought process again. Try to kill this thing off. Die. Get out of here. Been putting a little bit more stuns in my incendiary shot. So what we're running right now is same thing I was showing you, and I think I showed in yesterday's video. We've got the crossbow shot with scatter shot and chain. I'd really like to get a third socket so I could do something else, but then I'm running double barrel and overpower in this. I don't like grenades. I didn't like grenades before yesterday's patch. I don't like them today. You huck a grenade out there and it takes forever for the thing to go off, so I've just not been bothering with grenades. I like this setup because you get that chain. Here's the other thing, you know, you got to sit and wait on this stuff to go away. This just sucks. Like, this isn't gameplay, you know what I mean? And this is a complaint that I had. Sure, I could go around that way. I don't know, it just sucks. One of the things that I tried to do with with the build that I'm working on and what I've got going on is to stay at range so I don't have to stand in that degen pool. I did start a warrior out last night. I was checking with that, and I need to get some support gems. So to make it feel good, I didn't have any support gems, and it was fine, but it needs to be a lot better. One issue that I have been having is like the reloads need to be a little bit faster. Sometimes I feel like I'm flubbing a reload. Like, it almost feels like the reload isn't happening. I go hit my button to change to the whatever, the incendiary rounds or whatever. I don't feel like sometimes it doesn't change. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm missing, like point blank right in the thing's face, and I'm missing. Why is it taking so many hits to take that down? Sometimes I can one-shot stuff. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 shots. Some things feel inconsistent. I would presume that is down to my accuracy. I don't know if you can tell. That's crit chance, main hand accuracy. So I have 100% chance to hit everything, yet I feel like I'm missing some things. It doesn't always feel that good. I don't know. I kind of had that issue. I kind of had that issue the other day too. I don't know, when I was tinkering around with this build. Anyway, PoE 2, it's always been this way. You guys were just playing all these. Why do you get frozen every time you open a strongbox? I don't understand that either. Every strongbox I've opened has frozen me. I don't get that. But quite honestly, this is the game that was there in December. You guys just played all these hardcore builds that could just nuke everything, and Now you're finding out what the real game is. I'm curious to see what the player count is after this weekend. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that just now getting to it. Are people going to stick around with this and say, yeah, this is the experience that I want? We had 500,000 people on Steam for a long time, and now we've got a couple 100,000 for this weekend. Are they going to stay that way? You know, like, is it actually going to stay this high, or is it going to drop off to 40 or 50,000 come Monday? I'm curious to see how that goes. That's my big curiosity. I'm going to stick with it at least until we get Last Epoch. I'm going to get this character off in the end game, and then whenever Last Epoch comes up, I'm going to check that out for a bit. I think what I want to do with Last Epoch is what was I looking at? I don't remember what. The Primalist. I think it's a Primalist. Hey, buddy. All right, that's done.
No room.
And now we need to run back to town. I haven't had any crashing issues or logging out to desktop or anything, or getting logged out to the loading screen or anything like that. So it seems fine at this point. I haven't really had to come. You know, another thing I've noticed is I have not had to come back to this well all that much. I think when I first started playing this in December, I was spending all my time using all the skills that cost magic. Since I've started using all the ones, like since I've started using the default attack, this crossbow shot, since I've done more of that, I don't need to hit that well as much. So it hasn't been nearly the problem that it used to be. Let's see here. I can actually break stuff down. So let's go over here and need this out of the way. What are we running here? Evasion and energy shield. This is just straight up evasion and it's not rare. I'll go ahead and bust that down. And then we come over here to her. Let's see if we can disenchant. I moved that right out of the way. No. I might try that. This thing bumps up my physical damage, I think. 17 to 39. I might try to see if I can regal that thing up. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. I totally lost my train of thought. Man, this thing's getting in the way everywhere I put it. Let's get out of the way. Let's see, we've got frag rounds. I was running frag rounds. I did not like them, so I got rid of them. Let's see here. Belt. We do have a regal, so let's regal this thing up. Yeah, let's regal this thing up. Oh, critical damage bonus. I'm getting a little bit of fire on this, and I'm lighting things on fire. I don't know if this is going to improve my damage all that much. Let's see here. We're going to swap this out. We're going to get actually a little bit of damage, so that is a slight buff to damage. Now, what we've got here is evasion. That gives me big evasion. I get more dex. I get fire and lightning res off of this. I get thorns and life and stuff off of the other one. I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. I think what I'll do, I've been saving some of this stuff for my alt characters, so I think I'll just save that for an alt. And then I will throw a belt over here just to kind of hang on to that. I'm not running other crossbows, so let's just disenchant that. And I think I can move this back over to here. And we're ready to level up. So I've been working through all this projectile damage. We get more chain. Projectiles have a 10% chance to chain at additional time from terrain. We go through there. I picked up a strength node along the way. I think I needed one at some point. I could probably swap that to dex at some point, but I've came down here to grab heavy ammunition. It's going to reduce the attack speed, which I don't think I care about all that much, but it's increasing projectile damage and stun buildup. I wanted to get this before we fight the final boss on that next one. I wanted to come down here to this reload speed. I'm not noticing problems with reload currently. There's the explosive shot or whatever it is that comes up somewhere in the middle of Act 2 is where I leveled up enough to get that. I'll make a beeline down to that. I'm not sure if I guess I want to take these nodes also. I feel like I'm compelled to take all this. So I'll probably take all those and then start routing this way to go pick up that reload speed. And that kind of gets me back where I was on the test build that I had a couple of days ago. Oh yeah, we got to come back here and pick stuff up. So we can grab this stuff here and we need to keep moving on. Now, how do I have this laid out here? I probably should swap these points on the thing around here. So I really need to flip these two around. What I'm curious about is what the vision for Path of Exile 2 is. And I mean, we can see it, we can play it, and I don't mean it as, how do I explain this? Because I know what I'm trying to say, I just don't know how to actually explain it. So with Path of Exile 1, Diablo, any Diablo, well, I don't know that I can say that. I haven't played Diablo 2 in a long time, and I'm about to talk about Diablo 1, so it's probably not the way to explain it. But if you were to, I don't know how to say this. If you pick up any ARPG, like I tried that Dragonkin game, I've tried, boy, I'm totally losing. You've got Titan Quest, Grim Dawn, you've got Torchlight. I actually put a little bit of time into Torchlight. There was a couple other games that people had recommended. If you put your time into those games, or if you start out, you can typically just play the game. I'm probably going to start mixing up a bunch of these conversations at once because I feel like it all kind of goes together. Even though I put different bullet points for each thing, they all kind of feed into each other. And you see how it took so long to reload? Like if I dodge, I don't reload while I'm moving. So, and I don't reload while I'm throwing grenades. That's kind of annoying. But with Path of Exile 1, I was instantly able to just sit down, create a build, play through the game, and defeat it, no problem. It took me 40 hours to beat the original Path of Exile 1, my first time through. Then it was 20 hours. Then I started following build guides, and then I eventually just started making my own builds and just going from there. And here I'm making my own builds. I don't like following build guides. I've never felt the need to actually sit down and follow a build guide in any ARPG. I just sit down and start playing it. The build may suck. It may not be the most optimized thing ever, but I find fun in trying to figure out the combat puzzle. And that's where we're going to get talking about some of these other things. That's why I have Doom Eternal on there. It may seem like an odd conversation piece, but this game really reminds me of Doom Eternal, and we're kind of getting off the topic here, but like I said, a lot of this just kind of blends together. So the Path of Exile 2 vision is an ARPG that is completely different. Like it's not quite No Rest for the Wicked, but it is kind of along the lines of No Rest for the Wicked, if you see what I'm saying. Like No Rest for the Wicked is more of a Souls-style isometric game. It's not an ARPG. It's not what I would call an ARPG. It's more of a Souls game than this is, I think. I think that that's a better way of explaining it. This is not quite a Souls game. I kind of see where this is, and we're talking about the vision here, what the vision of this game is. I kind of see how it is like a Souls style game. I mean, fighting the bosses and all that, it definitely makes sense. That's just how it plays. But I don't know. I struggle to see what the vision for this game is. And what I have here is I would love to see Jonathan or Mark or any of these guys from Grinding Gear Games live stream their play style of this. How do they play? I think I saw Jonathan talking about he could watch Netflix while he was playing. I find you have to concentrate a lot. Now, this time around, I don't feel like I have to concentrate nearly as much playing this as I did before. But, and you know, I've taken a long break from it. I've accepted what this game is, and I know what it's going to be. I don't really care as much. I don't have we're going to fight that thing. I don't have the investment in the game this time around. Like I was totally invested in it. Now I'm just kind of like, whatever, Last Epoch's around the corner. So if this sucks and I don't like it, I'll be back with it. And I'm more comfortable playing the game now, but I'm curious what their actual vision is. What they've been doing is just giving us skills and ascendancies and stuff like that, classes to play. And then you get hyped up for it. You look at it, you're like, that looks cool. Then you go play it and you're like, it kind of sucks. So I would be interested to actually watch those guys play, and in in an environment where you could actually do some Q&A and say, hey, why are you doing this? And is that what you think this is supposed to play like? Because I don't feel like, I kind of started to talk about this and I wasn't really sure how to take the direction of it, but I don't feel like this is so quite as easily figured out as other ARPGs. Like you can just sit down with Diablo 2, 3, 4, Titan Quest. I know I see a lot of, I look at Reddit here and there. I don't really read it a whole lot, but I do scroll through it. You know, I get bored and I'm like, okay, I want to go look at something. So I do see a lot of comments of various games, and I've been following a lot of these different games, and you see a lot of people begging for builds and how do I do this? How do I do that? I think I'm probably getting ahead of myself on this part of the conversation, but I feel like people just don't know how to try things and see what works for them. And we're kind of getting off into that conversation, but like I said, a lot of this kind of wraps together, and that's kind of what I'm getting at with the Grinding Gear Games version of it. Like, how do they expect us to play this game? Because having this degen crap constantly all over this place as a warrior sucks. Dude, this area is awful to play as a melee because you're just constantly bathed in the blood of some decaying corpse or something, and it sucks. It doesn't feel good. So I would love to see them play a warrior and explain how that's supposed to be fun and engaging and not just some slog. Now, like I said, I'm kind of having a lot more fun this time around, so I'm not really feeling the punch of it as much, but I've also already figured out that that's the way they've built this game and that's the way it's going to be. So we just have to play it the way they've built it. But I would love to see them play this and explain how exactly why they've got this set up the way they do. All right, we're going to do this fight and let's see how this goes. Boss fights haven't been too bad for me. Well, except for the reloads. God, I gotta wait on that reload so much. I will say that playing melee has gotten me into the fact that, it didn't hurt that much. If you just stay right in a boss's face constantly, they really can't account for anything. Like you can just stay up close and not just dodge roll every once in a while. And I can stun him so much. Okay, that fight wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I do feel like the game is a lot easier this time around. We didn't get anything rare, did we? Get this stuff out of the way. Come on, get out of the way. Anything rare? Anything I can swap out? I've been trying to stick with rare gear. Escape that. This note thing's kind of annoying. Okay, so we talked about the vision a little bit. I'm really curious how they intend us to play it. I mean, we've talked about that. I'm kind of repeating myself, but I am curious about how they intend to play that. Now, I've seen some comments on Reddit and everything, and I've played through Diablo 1 last year, and I recently played a game called Tower of Calamanvo, which are both very punishing. And if you notice the way I've been playing, if you see that I've been backing up, this is a style of gameplay that we used to play with, and I'm mentioning Doom Eternal for a different reason, but in the old days of Doom, you would basically backpedal and shoot things that were coming at you until you killed them. And that's how you used to play Diablo 1. That's how I played Tower of Calamanvo. It was taking me right back to those days where you're fighting something and you just keep moving back. You're basically kiting it around and backpedaling to kill it off. This is how we used to play these old games. They were punishing. They weren't punishing the way this is, though. Like, you could actually kill things and you had loot and stuff like that. Like, and I don't know. I haven't necessarily felt the crunch of the ruthless mode for this game. What I've felt more is that there's just giant packs of mobs. Typically, like if you go look at the old Diablo, the original Diablo, you'd fight maybe a handful of monsters at once. You didn't get inundated with just blasts and blasts of monsters, which is this point about Wisps and Strongboxes. I've just gotten... Strongboxes are a choice. Wisps kind of just go off on their own and you can't get away from them. And we got to go back to town again. Thankfully, I'm not crashing or locking up on going back to town, man. That was frustrating. Let's see, we need to go over here. I really wish they would consolidate this so we didn't have to go to all these different places. Let's see, get this thing out of the way. There's nothing here that I actually care about. I don't plan on doing a ranged, well, I don't plan on doing a bow build, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of all this. I'll sell that. Wait, my first move should be over here to the salvage bench so I could see what I can get rid of there. I am playing an SSF, by the way, so I want to save that. Get rid of these, and these. Yeah, get rid of all that. Back here. Runes. I'm not using runes yet. I probably should spend my... I probably should go ahead and... Oh, God. Click on the stash tab. Good Lord. I don't want lightning damage. We've got... I just want 2 of these. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. It's probably against my better judgment to spend the currency, but we're coming up on a big boss fight, and I think I want to just go ahead and drop these 2 in here. We'll drop an Exalt on this thing, get a little bit more, and we're going to go ahead and put both of those in there. That's going to increase the fizz damage coming off of this thing. That's going to make that bow, or that crossbow, a lot better, I think. So we are doing 55. I don't know how much that improved, but... Probably shouldn't waste it, but I don't want to get killed on this boss fight, and I am in SSF, so this is pretty much, I have to survive this. See, that's the stairs back up. What were we talking about? Oh, Diablo 1 and Tower of Calamanvo. So basically, you go in, you aggro some stuff, and then you back off. This is how you play a lot of those old games. This is the way they played. So I don't necessarily mind this style of game. It just feels weird that... Like, Tower of Calamanvo is a throwback game. It's meant to be a throwback game. This plays like Path of Exile, yet is a throwback game in a lot of ways, with the way you have to just run backwards all the time and avoid things. So it's got some conflicting design choices in it, which is a little weird. Definitely feels odd. And then the reason I wanted to actually compare this to Doom Eternal... So when I played Doom Eternal, I saw Doom Eternal come out. It was a big shift in, you know, run and gun, just kill everything you see. Doom Eternal was, you had to start swapping weapons and you had to do this combat puzzle. And I hated it. I thought it sucked. All the parkour you had to do. I want a big dumb action game where I can go kill things and feel satisfactory about it. I don't need everything to be some, slog and am I gonna survive this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need everything to be this punishing, unrewarding. You have to, you know, everything feels like you're dying constantly. I didn't want that. And that was how Doom Eternal was. And in my mind, that's exactly how this was at launch as well. And like I said, you guys are collectively, you guys figured out all these builds that could just melt bosses in 1 second, melt, you know, the hardest content in the game in 1 second. Well, you're obviously not playing the same game that I am, because what I played sucked. And if I'd have played all the meta builds and actually worked them up the way people were playing them, I probably would have had a lot more fun. Oh, I did get an amulet equipped. Probably should go ahead and run back to town. I need to remember to go back to town. Just go do that. Why are we T-posing? But to compare this to Doom Eternal, I hated Doom Eternal. I beat it. I actually went through and beat it, but it was not fun. And I just did not like my experience with Doom Eternal. And it's gotten me to the point where we've got Doom the Dark Ages coming out. I actually wasn't going to play it. I think I'm going to now. After I decided to go into Doom, into playing this, I kind of changed my mind how I'm going to do Doom Eternal, because I was just flat out going to skip it. But I think it might actually be worth playing. So I'm going to check it out and see how it goes. But I got to tell you, man, I did not like Doom Eternal. I thought it was an extreme slog, and that's exactly what I thought Path of Exile 2 was when I first played it. Like, it was just unrewarding, miserable. If you play a Souls game, I always feel like Souls games are rewarding. Why couldn't I fire right there? I always feel like Souls games are very rewarding. And I was there at the original Demon Souls. I played that on, I think, literally day one. I read an article about Demon Souls. I thought, hey, this game sounds really cool, or like a review or something like that. I went out to the store. I think I actually bought it on launch day on accident way back when. That was, before we really had the internet and stuff to deal with. So, you could read Game Informer or whatever it was. I don't remember what magazine, but something talking about it. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I died so many times on that bridge. And then you'd unlock a shortcut and everything, you could get through things faster and skip all the hard stuff. But when you beat one of those little, I don't even want to call them a mini boss, they were just like stronger mobs. When you beat one of those stronger mobs and got a shortcut open, you felt like you were accomplishing something. I didn't feel accomplishing anything in Doom Eternal, and I didn't really feel like I was accomplishing anything here either, aside from like the big boss fights. And a lot of the white mobs are just overtuned with damage. I know they've got a patch coming in here that's going to reduce some of their life pool and stuff like that, but that's just Band-Aid fixes. That's not actually going through the philosophy of the game, and that's going back to this other point. What's the vision? Because, if it's just to be as absolutely punishing as possible and unrelenting, that's not fun. I don't think I would, if I had to come back and play this game every league, I don't think I would. I think this is kind of starting to fall into that Diablo 4 territory where I'd check it out every once in a while, but I'd probably not, I wouldn't play it religiously like I do every PoE 1 league. PoE 1, I think, is almost a flawless game. Like, it's definitely got its issues. The big thing, come on, reload, Jesus. The big complaint that I have with PoE 1 is the campaign takes so long. I would love to see the campaign shorter. I don't want to play more, I want to play less so I can get into the end game and to do things. Now, to be fair though, the campaign is like a benchmark. You can see how well your build is doing and you can gauge how things are feeling. I don't know if I could do that if I was just dumped out into the maps. I mean, sure, I probably could, but I feel like the campaign is okay. The Diablo 4 campaign, I never want to do again. I did not like that. I just didn't like it at all. The campaign was fine when I played it. If you buy the Steam version, it's much better. I'll never get tired of that joke. But I didn't think the campaign was all that bad when I finally played through it. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like Diablo 4's gameplay. Like, when it first launched, and I played it in that first, I don't know, week or, not week. I played it in the first month? I don't remember. I didn't buy it at launch. I bought it, when it first went on sale. So I didn't get the exact launch experience, but it was still pretty much the earliest, early on before they really changed a ton of it. And a year later, it felt really good. But like, if you played Diablo 4 at launch, they had, oh, Jesus, die. Man. I don't know why these things, I feel like my 100% chance to hit, 100% chance to hit is not 100% chance to hit, because it doesn't always hit. Or maybe they block or evade or something, I don't know, but it's just not quite the 100% that 100% says it is. That makes sense. I do like the range on this. What were we talking about? Diablo 4. I did not quite care for Diablo 4 at launch. In that first month or so. How much stuff do we have? Probably warrant going back to town real quick here. I might have an upgrade in these gloves. That's the only reason I'm going back. But I didn't like I did not like Diablo 4 at launch. I mean, basically at launch. We'll call it launch. It's close enough. I just didn't care for it. Oh, we can upgrade. Go ahead and do that. I know we're going to be dealing with some cold damage, so what is... Cold res could definitely be a little bit higher. I guess I'll leave this up for now. I don't know where we're at in relation to all my conversation here. Let's see here. This thing... I think I'm just going to melt that off. Get rid of this and this. We'll go ahead over here and disenchant. Throw this stuff in here. I don't think... That's a life flask, right? All right, so we'll upgrade these and see what we get here. This gives me 385 life. That's definitely going to be a little better. I think I'll save that flask for later. This one gives me 131. Neither one of these are better, so we'll go get rid of these things. I gotta go to the well. Gotta move this thing out of the way. I don't know if I like this thing on here or not, but it's kind of interesting to have. At least I can... Oh, I wanted to add... do we have cold? Lightning, cold res. Throw that on there. So now we've got this button. Man, that didn't really move my cold res up hardly at all. Okay. So I didn't like Diablo 4 at launch. The way you had the builder spender stuff, the way it worked, the way it was at launch, I thought sucked. I tried a melee build here not long ago. Well, when I was playing, I didn't try like going through the whole game with the melee build, but I spent enough time with it that the melee felt a lot better. Whatever axe build I had, I think I was doing. I don't remember. Oh, the spin to win, cyclone, whatever that equivalent is in Diablo 4. I was tinkering around with that, and it actually felt a lot better. So whatever their vision for the game was, they actually changed it quite a bit after launch, and I'm expecting Path of Exile 2 to follow that same route. But it'd be nice to know what they were actually, kind of going back to this other stuff earlier, it'd be nice to know what they were trying to get at with this, because if they're trying to make it like Diablo was, I think they've succeeded, but it's more annoying. Like, this isn't fun. I always had fun with Diablo 1 and 2, and I don't know. This doesn't seem to have the staying power. I kind of mentioned starting to go down that thread earlier. I don't know that this game has the staying power unless they... I mean, what you get with PoE 1 is a lot of build variety. I feel like you're kind of just shoehorned into a build that doesn't suck, if that makes sense. With this game, I put a video out the other day talking about looking for a build, and I showed all the different classes going through the Miller. Basically, my premise with that was I wasn't having fun, and I was trying to find something that would make this fun and not the grueling slog that it is. This build feels fine. This class feels fine, and I think I'm okay with sticking with it. I don't know that I gave the Amazon a shot. I don't know that I could stick with that, and you know, I don't know that that's something I want to tinker around with. It seemed okay. I saw everybody complaining about it, and I thought, well, how's it feel? It's different. And that's another one I'd like to see them actually playing it, and, you know, explaining what they're trying to do or accomplish with that build or with that class. And, you know, I like that every class is different. I actually like that this is completely different than Path of Exile 1. I think what they should have done with this is added some more crafting options. I think one of the big sticking points that I have with this is that they sort of brought the PoE 1 crafting style over to here. Like, they completely changed the way the game plays and that you have to use basic attacks and stuff like that. They changed the way gem sockets work. They changed a lot of the things. They changed the support gems around. Like, it's a completely different game, but they kept a lot of the same elements from PoE 1. So you get the same crafting stuff with just far less crafting materials that you can't fix any of the problems with. Like, you can't use scours and things like that. Like, you can't fix the gear. So you're kind of stuck with whatever crap falls on the ground, but then you don't like what falls on the ground because it kind of sucks, and you're like, this is not great gear. We've been going for a while now. I wanted to end at this fight. I'm going to go level up real quick, see if I can find some more monsters to kill. I want to get one more level in before we fight that thing. I don't remember how much we talked about Doom Eternal. I mentioned I didn't really like it when it launched. This is a waste of time to come in here. But that's kind of how this is. I was kind of interested in going back and trying Doom Eternal. But with Doom the Dark Ages coming out, I actually reinstalled Doom 2016. Actually reinstalled both Doom 2016 and Eternal. I was going to go through them both again. And then I don't know. I just don't know that I'm going to have the time. We've got so many games coming out here in the next few months, or so many leagues or cycles or seasons or whatever. We just got a ton of things starting. So this will go ahead and take this, add a little extra damage. I just don't know that I'm going to have enough time. I think I'm going to play Doom the Dark Ages, but it really soured me. And I think one of the things that I think is really unfortunate about this situation is they're totally stalling Path of Exile 1 and not, I made a video about this. They need to have Path of Exile 1 leagues regularly and just keep working on this in the background. They need to keep PoE 1 leagues rolling and not just let that die on the vine, because they're going to end up killing all of it messing with this. I think, in my opinion, I think they're going to end up killing everything and sacrificing everything trying to keep this game, because this game saw such high player numbers, and I think that's unfortunate. We need Path of Exile 1 326 pronto. It needs to be here. We're in April. We need that in May or June. We gotta have it, and they've got to put that into a regular cycle, whether it's 6 months or 4 months or something like that. We need that going. We don't need this game pushing everything out. And this game pushed out Last Epoch. So it's not only just impacting Path of Exile, and I would say Path of Exile is one of Grim Dawn or Path of Exile and Diablo 2. That's my S tier games in this space. Those are the best games out there, and they're sacrificing that for this. And I don't hate this. I want to see this good, but they keep pushing what their vision is. And as I mentioned, I'd like to see them actually explain their vision and give us what it is, because I think a lot of people aren't seeing it. And as the player base dwindles off, what are they going to do to address that and bring things back around? So I don't know. I'm kind of getting off topic on this. I'll finish this off. 100 new support gems. I looked at the support gem stack that we've got. I don't think I have. No, I don't. I looked at the stack of support gems. I honestly couldn't tell you there's 100 new support gems. It all looked like the same list to me. And I ended up going with the same stuff. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time doing it, going through there. But I looked at stuff that was crossbows. It was the exact same crossbow support gems that I looked at the other day. And now they've added 100. All right, whatever. I don't know. Players that rely, we'll come back to that one. Wisps and Strongboxes. When you get a wisp and it just goes right towards all the other monsters, and now next thing you've got half the monsters on the map on you, that kind of sucks. You're getting really pack swarmed. Same thing with Strongboxes. You really need to stay mobile. That's why I had this on here. And players that rely too much on build guides. I think that is a big thing, and I think that was very apparent with this patch right here, because if you noticed, we didn't get the patch notes until the day before the patch went live. It wasn't in POB. I watched several different creators, a lot of the big names that, they couldn't just create their own, they couldn't create a build. They didn't know what to expect. So now you've got everybody complaining because all the meta builds are burned to the ground, and people are trying new things out for the first time. It's back to day one grumbling that we had in December when launch day happened, but there's no metas that are coming out. I mean, I'm sure there's some meta coming out of it, but I think people rely on too many build guides. I hate, and when Righteous Fire got changed and I realized that I just wasn't going to be able to, why can't I move? Oh, what am I doing? Wait, why am I not attacking? Right-clicking no worky. Let's see how bad this fight is. Reload. But I think people rely too much on build guides and not not just playing the game and trying it and trying to figure out what skills they like and what skills work. They just want the most meta, I gotta kill everything in 1 second. Oh, you suck. Run, little rabbit! How you like that?
You will pay for that. Easy prey.
Come back here. Oh, crap. I always miss that. It's nice that I can't attack. Well, I gotta wait on this. All right, we gotta swap our weapons here. Give me the promise. All right, come on, buddy. Maybe I want that reload speed faster than I think. I feel like I get interrupted all the time.
How dare you abandon me after all I've given you? I will take out your heart
You just try.
and savor each
How's that taste?
requiem on high.
Oh, yep. I always miss that. I always think he's going into that phase where he's gonna.
And savor each bite.
I always think he's going into that phase where he summons the other wolves in, and the fog comes around here. Oh. Get out of that. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I missed getting out of that. All right. Well, we're going to try it again. Give it one more shot. Give it the old college try. I think that's the first time I've died with this character.
No noose this time. I'll remove your head myself.
You could bloody well try.
First one's higher.
I don't always feel like I get my, sometimes my shots. I play mouse and keyboard. I don't like WASD. I know you guys love that. I hate it.
That will not go unpunished. First one's higher. Desolation. I will take out your heart
Yeah, good luck with that.
and savor each bite.
Oh, I thought I missed that. Oh.
The air grows colder.
See, that's where I think, yeah. Swap our ammo off here.
I'm now the impaler. As swift as death. And imbued by the moon. Cursed or gifted.
Be cool if you could turn into a werewolf.
Afflicted. Your veins soon chilled. Agnar shall slay again. Chilling frost. Solstice of pain.
How am I getting hit with these? They must have an AoE on them. I thought that once you blocked those, or got away from... I thought you could stand between those shafts, but they must have an AoE.
And savor each bite. Freezing gale.
See? Oh, no! I was thinking it was that other thing.
Requiem on high.
I also don't feel like I'm, like, I don't know if it's a mouse and keyboard thing or what, but I don't feel like I'm necessarily targeting the enemies. Oh, come on. Reload, come on. Oh, get out of that. Oh. I didn't switch. Come on, reload! 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 Jesus, man! I feel like I'm rolling and I don't get the reload off for some reason. I don't get it. It feels awful. I guess the reload stops when you roll. Like if I shoot and reload, then you have to wait. Man, I gotta get used to that. And I gotta be more, I gotta learn to be more patient.
I found messages from the
Wish you could skip this too, because I'm ready to move on, but I want my loot. And you can't get your loot until this finishes.
Find her.
So anyway, we've gone on for a while. This is about what I wanted to do. I figured it was going to be about an hour-long video. I don't know if there's anything useful here, but I just wanted to chat. There's been a whole bunch of things that have been, you know, the comparison to Doom Eternal and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of things that have been on my mind for a long time now, and
To make our preparations.
they didn't give me. I thought they gave me a portal. But I just wanted to chat about some things. It wasn't anything that I thought was worth a whole video for, but yeah, all right. Don't think we have to talk to any of those people. To get through this before I can do that. And did we get anything good? 15 to 42, a little bit more attack speed, but it's not going to have the increased. That's not too bad. Maybe I'll hang on to that. I don't know if I want to socket it though. Well, at any rate. So, we're through Act 1, and let's see here. Deaths. I've died one time. Not passives. Played. How long have we played? So, 4 hours to get through Act 1. That's not bad. It took me 10 hours to get through Act 1 the first time. I did not go and clear out everything in here, so there's still some other bosses I need to go kill. Whatever other, the Crowbell, I didn't do that. I didn't do the King of the Mist. I still haven't messed with that yet. I'll probably come back when I have a little bit better equipment. I could probably do those now and feel better, but I think I might go into Act 2 a little bit. Act 2 was looks like it was going to take about 6 hours to complete. That's about how long it took me on my test playthrough here a couple of days ago, so I'm expecting that. And I don't know about Act 3. I didn't make it into Act 3 yet, so I don't know. That's kind of where we're at. But anyway, like I said, I just wanted to chat about a few things. So that's pretty much what this whole video was, just a big bitch session, if you want to call it that. But at any rate, hopefully the conversation has been useful. If you have any comments, drop them down below. And that is going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.